Hello, my name is Neil Kirby. I own the Langham Hotel in Eastbourne. I've been in hospitality. I'm pleased to say this is my 50th anniversary. I started in 1967 and very much still enjoy the business. Unfortunately or fortunately, I'm working 80 hours a week, and my wife, because we live here in the Langham Hotel. We have just over 80 bedrooms, and we bought the hotel coming up to 12 years ago, July the 1st, 2005. I remember I signed the cheque to this day. Love the industry, love the industry. My first job was in 1967 when I was 15 years of age. I was a washer-upper. I got a job. I wanted to be a professional footballer for Crystal Palace. I was an apprentice professional, and after 3 months they kicked me out and said you weren't good enough, and I wasn't good enough. So my father said, get yourself down to Grosvenor House. I know the laundry manager there, and you get a job as a washer-upper. So job as a washer-upper in 1967. The toughest job I've ever had is owning the Langham Hotel, because I still get stressed out today. Fortunately for me, I do marathons, and I'm out running 5 days a week. It takes away my stress, but I have to say being a general manager was tough, but owning your own property, knowing what's in the bank account, and when the VAT comes around, I do get very stressed, and it's a tough job owning it, I must say, but I've learned a lot in the 12 years since we bought this hotel. My favourite job is I got up the ladder when I was at Grosvenor House. As I mentioned, my first job was a washer-up. I worked my way all the way up to become general manager of Grosvenor House, and I was there for 28 years. But one of my third job was a valet, pressing the wealthy clothes, suits and dresses, cleaning, spit and polishing shoes. And the reason why it was one of my favourite jobs, I got to meet all the rich and famous people. You become quite personal with them because it's their personal belongings. You know, suits that are worth £4,000, £5,000, £6,000 from Savile Row, and they also used to earn great tips. Great tips as a valet. My favourite guest, because Grosvenor House had 452 bedrooms and 160 private apartments, and in the apartments block when I was a valet I used to look after people like Sean Connery, Roger Moore and very rich and famous people. I also looked after Margot Fontaine, the ballerina. I wasn't into ballet, but she lived there for 12 years at the Grosvenor House, and the whole of her headboard was painted in Swan Lake. I remember one day when I knocked on her door to pick up her laundry, and she said, take this bag, Neil, I don't want it anymore, throw them away. So I said, okay, madam, and as I walked down the corridor, I looked into the bag and there was 6 pairs of pink ballet shoes. And like a fool, I threw them in the bin. If I should have kept them, they're probably worth a fortune on eBay today, but she was one of my favourite customers, so polite and courteous, and she was a great tipper. Yeah, my most memorable experience at work was when I was a deputy general manager of Grosvenor House, working my way up, as I mentioned. We had a lot of Arab people staying with us from Saudi Arabia, and we had a princess come. I won't mention, I'll probably get sued if I do, but she was treating her own personal staff very badly, this princess. She was whipping them, literally, and one day I was walking around, doing my walk around at the Grosvenor House, and on the loading bay, the chap said, there's a young lady in here crying. So I went into the loading bay office, and there was a lady cowling underneath who was working for the princess, crying, and showed me her back, where this princess had whipped her on the back, which was bleeding quite badly. Her security was looking for her, the princess's security. So we shut the gates of the loading bay so no one could see her hiding there. So I thought this was terrible. She hadn't seen her husband for 3 years. They were going around the world, and and she hadn't been home to see her 2 children. So I said, where'd you come from? She said, I come from so-and-so. So I said, look, I'll take you to the embassy. So I smuggled her down underneath the 2.5 miles of staff corridors at Grosvenor House, underneath to the other side, hailed a taxi, gave him 20 quid out of my own pocket, and I said to her, take her to the so-and-so embassy. I never saw the girl again, and I'm pleased God she got home safely, because I thought that was terrible the way you were treating her. I just felt great about that. It has changed. I mean, from 67, of course it's got better, but some things haven't got better. I mean, it's got better in the luxury of the quality of furnishings and things like that, we've got Wi-Fi and we've got, but things have changed that when I joined there was a valet service on every floor, there was a maid service on every floor, and there was a butler service on every floor at the Grosvenor House, as an example, and many hotels in London were like that. And that you got a hot toast and a runny egg in the old days, and your newspaper wasn't slung outside your door or hanging on the door handle. It was taken in, and the curtains were drawn by the butlers, and in came the tray. If you were having room service, I'm talking about. And what upsets me is that they're charging now some hotels for tray service. Some hotels are now not giving you breakfast included, which I think is terrible. And so it's things like that. But I think overall the service has certainly got better in most hotels. Value for money is not as good as it used to be. I mean, the prices they charge in certain places is ridiculous. And so things have changed. But I still, as I mentioned before, I love the industry, and I think that we need to keep the service up. And I think general managers should get off their backsides and meet the customers more. I mean, I'm forever meeting my customers. I never remember their name, but I learnt one thing in London, learnt many things in London, but one I learnt was, morning sir, good morning madam, because I couldn't remember their names, and I still do that today. Be more patient, and I think look after the staff. I mean, I'm very good with my staff, and because I work alongside them, but I need to give a little bit more time with them, and I think reward them slightly more. You know, I own the hotel; I can do what the hell I like, and I go around now and I give a few bonuses to the staff out of my own money. It's my money, my wife's money. So I think that's something I've learnt. And lastly, I think that to constantly remember that the staff are just as important as the customer, and that's the way I treat my staff. And that's why we get on so well. Every year we have a Christmas party with the staff, like all people do. But every year they buy us a present, you know, which is a very small present, doesn't matter. And they send us off to flight tickets to here and there, or theatre tickets to London, you know, to say their thanks to us. So I think staff are crucial in this business, and treat them as well as the customer. I learned that. My proudest moment was buying the Langham. I mentioned that earlier, but buying the Langham Hotel was my proudest moment, and my wife, even though she was very stressed about it, and so was I. But I've always wanted to own my own place. I never had a goal to do that when I was younger, when I first got in the industry. Never even contemplated it. But now we've got it for the last 12 years, as I mentioned. It's our proudest moment, and I couldn't wait when I got the keys from the previous owners, and I looked round and realised, what have I done? But I still love it. That was my proudest moment.